It's Ursula from ursula-smith.com, and I did another quick video, and I wanted to leave that one standalone because I was just showing you a technique or a new way that I use the Yupo paper or really any embossing, stencils, anything like that with the Sizzix Big Shot. But I have now wrecked my I had something on the back of this and it was wet, and now I've just transferred it. Perfect. Okay, clean your things. So in this case, I wanted to actually work on a card. A lot of times I show you techniques and then I go off and do other things and I never actually finish anything. So this year, it's 2024, I'm trying to actually finish things. So I'm going to work on this card on camera. And so what I decided what I wanted to do was try to get some other Distress Oxide colors in there, but I did not want to go over the on top of the pink because I didn't want to contaminate that pink color. So what I did was I just took the Yupo paper plate that I embossed with, and I'm just used the correct side to cover up the embossed image. And then I'm going to take some Distress Oxide spray, Salvage Patina, and spray over the top. So I'm just trying to get some spritzes. And again, if I did this over the top of the pink, either oxide or sprays will change the color of that pink just in different ways. This would cover it up. The regular spray stain would react with it and cause that oxidation that I call Distress Oxide Resist, which I'm still going to end up doing. But I just wanted to bring some alternative colors in there. And so I'm just spritzing with that salvaged patina, and then I will lift this up. And so I have some in the background. I mean, I did get some overspray on the pink, but whatever, that's not that bad. And so now if I come over with a spray stain, both colors will react with the spray stain. And I'm trying to decide what color I would like to use. Normally my go-to is usually a neutral. So let's try Scorched Timber and just see what we get. And so again, this is the regular spray stain, so it's going to react and oxidize the color underneath. I don't know if I have enough tea dye left. Let's try some tea dye in there. Let's get a little bit of red to it and see what that does. Yeah, can't get any out of it now. So the blue is kind of staying blue. The pink is going almost a white. Let's see what other neutrals I have. Actually, let's bring a pink in. Let's see what happens when we bring a pink in. How about picked raspberry? I'm just going to do a corner. Interesting. So let's see what happens when it dries. And when that happens, I will be back. All right, so I am back and my card front has dried, and I really like the way that it turned out. I love the color combinations. Even that spot where I had the boo-boo where I put the heart back and there was color on it and I got a smudge on it is gone. You can't even tell that that was even there. So there's a lot going on with this card front. So and I'm just going to take a second to kind of go over my thinking behind what I show in my YouTube videos. In general, so I started this channel like a million years ago, mostly to help out friends and family or students that I taught in my stamping or scrapbooking class. When I taught them a technique, a lot of times they wouldn't remember, or they'd be in the middle of something and they'd be trying to fix a boo-boo or take their card to the next level, and they couldn't remember the stuff that I would generally throw at them, almost like a firestorm when I would teach. And so I started making the YouTube channel so that I could just document the techniques. And that kind of morphed into like experimentation as I was playing around in my studio. And in general, I tend more towards what I call a take 5. And again, when I started this whole thing, I was working. I had 2 kids, and all their activities. I had animals. I was trying to teach. And so I didn't have a lot of time. So there are lots of people who do, 1,000 layers. And I know that's an exaggeration, but, they take a lot of time to do their projects. And that's not to say that I never do that. I do, especially when comes more to like scrapbooking for my kids, that sort of thing, or a special project for a friend who's ill. I'll take a lot more time. There'll be a lot more layers. But in general, to make a card, I tend towards the take 5. So things that can be done in 5 minutes or less. That doesn't mean that the whole card will be done in 5 minutes or less, but at least the pieces are. And so a lot of these card fronts are a 5-minute or less thing. I embossed with a Yupo paper cutout, ran some ink over it, threw some sprays over it. In this case, I actually protected the original color that I used. And then again, ended up just deciding to come over the top with spray stains. And so that whole process took 5 minutes. Then I had to go off and let it dry. I mean, I didn't have to let it dry. I could have heat gunned it. But I tend to do things in sessions, right? So 5 minutes at a time, throw it, and I don't have to wait. I do have to wait, I mean. And I just make a bunch of things, usually the same process, but different colors. And so I build up, in some cases, very large piles of card fronts, and then any of the mop-up, I'm looking around, the mop-up papers that I can then use to cut things out of, and I just keep them in piles. So then, now this is dry, I can decide what I'm going to do to finish it. And generally, I don't show that on camera, but here, I'm going to try and do a little more of that this year. And so my process, again, trying to keep it to that 5 minutes or less, is I will obviously pick a card base. And what I do with my card bases is I will take 8.5 by 11 when I decide what color I want. 8.5 by 11 or 12 by 12, whatever it is. Cut it, if it's 8.5 by 11, in half. Make one card base, throw the other one in this container. Now, this container, they don't make it, unfortunately, anymore. It was by Stampendous, and I think they were called stuffed tainers. So the only bad thing about it, I could never get the label off. But whatever, it doesn't matter. They came in different thicknesses. So this is the thickest one. They made a really thin one, and a medium one, and then this thick one. Fits 8.5 by 11 full size without being cut down. So they were just super handy. I've got a bunch of them. They hold stamps, and they hold pens and watercolor pencils and papers. And so it was very easy. So I use these a lot at holidays, right? I would, or, if I'm going off to a scrapbooking weekend, throw like things in a stuffed tainer, pack it in some kind of other container and take it with me. So I love these things. And so I keep a card base stufftainer. And then I can pick through, especially if I'm in a hurry, and hopefully one of the colors will go with the card that I'm making. And so in this case, I had, no, I actually had 2 pink ones. And then I had a blue one. There was a purple one. It was not a card front. It was just a matte. But at least I could see, do I want that purple? I mean, it's kind of cool looking. I did like that. Then I tried the blue one. And the blue one was really nice, too. It picked up the flecks of blue. You know, if I was, okay, true confessions. I did make this card for my husband for Valentine's Day. And it's now past Valentine's Day. I never actually finished it. So I literally just handed it to him as a card front. So he at least knew I thought about him enough to start a card for him. But in any event, maybe I'll remake it again for next year and put it on the blue base. Or not. And so ultimately, I think I like it best on the pink background because it really highlights that pink heart. And so with all of what's going on, I could literally just tape this down to the card base and be done. And that, again, 5-minute rule, right? But the other thing that I've started to do in the past couple of years is I have another section where I keep all my die cuts and embossing folders, yada, yada, yada. It's on the other side of the room, which, I mean, not that big a deal. It's not that huge a room. I could walk over and, find something. But again, if I'm in a super hurry, what I've started to do was I keep a little sidekick. Not necessarily, this is really my work area, so I usually keep it in a different part of my desk. And then I have a tin that's just got random little dies in there. Words and little doodads, shapes, flowers, the cutting pads or mats that go with a sidekick, a little pick to punch out the paper from the dies, and so I keep this on in my desk, this on my desk, so that if I'm in a hurry and I really want to add something to the front, I've got at least a start towards that. And so I actually had cut something, but now it's lost on my desk. Oh, there it is. And so one of the thoughts was, so if this, I was making this for Valentine's Day like I originally planned, or even, a wedding or an anniversary, I would probably cut the word love, and then use that. But I thought that just the word hello is kind of cute. And so I cut it out of the matching paper because I had a leftover strip and the word actually fit, and then the whole thing fit through the sidekick. And so, use a little bit of glue. So in general, I tend to use the Distress Collage Medium or the Mono glue. I used to love the Scotch Tacky Glue. It used to be thicker. It's not as thick as it used to be, and I don't like it anymore. So this one is really my go-to, and I keep it just in a little cup, like a dipping sauce cup, and I just keep it this way, and so it's always at the ready. Again, if I'm in a hurry, I can immediately start squeezing the glue out onto my little doodad and then glue it down. So that is how I am going to plan on finishing this card. And again, 5 minutes or less, at least for the different stages. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.